Dear students, today we will see the Unit 5 Process and Operating System. What is process? Process is a single execution of the program. It's called a process. If we run the same program in a two different times, then we are creating two different processes. Each process has its own state that includes not only in the register but also in the memory. In some memory management unit, each process is separate, they are using the separate address space. Suppose if the lightweight address use the same address space for the two different process, then we are call it as a threads. Process that share the same address space are often called as threads. Okay, so now we will see what is multiprogramming. Multiprogramming is the ability of an operating a system to execute more than one program on a single processing machine. It may be task, program, job or process can reside into the main memory at one point of time. A computer, in our computer, we are running Excel as well as Firefox simultaneously is an example of the multiprogramming. So you can see here the diagram, the memory layout of the multiprogram system. In the operating system, jobs are declared 1, 2 and up to n number of jobs you can assign in the same operating systems. So you can see here the multitasking. So a person can do multitask. You can do the phone calls, you can type it, and you can see the audio, video. So multitasking. The person can do the similarly. The operating system execute more than one task simultaneously on a single process called multitasking. Though we say it is simultaneously it is performing all the tasks in a single processor, but actually the CPU switches from one task to the next task so quickly that appears as if all the tasks are executing at the same time. So now you can see the difference between the multitasking system and the multiprocessing system. So operating system, here the single operating system can do multitasking, word processor, email, web browser, antivirus. Here we are seeing the single CPU code. The multiprocessor, it is able to operating system to execute more than one process simultaneously on a multiprocessor machine. Here we are using the CPU code to CPU code, we are using a processing work. So the computer uses more than one CPU at a time. So here the definition for this multitasking is an operating system which allows user to perform more than one computer task. So you can see the operating system, we are using MS Word, and we are listening to music, and we are browsing. So in a single processor. So how there is a possibilities for this? Here the operating system will share the times. So this task has to do within this time quantum, the music with the time, it will switch immediately, simultaneously. So when you see this, simultaneously the process will done. Okay, it is not like that. So here you can say that 6 tasks is given. Here P1, P2, P3, P4, P5. So here the time quantum is 6 nanoseconds. First 6 nanoseconds, the P1 will be, the P process will do. The next nanoseconds, 6 nanoseconds, P2 will complete, and the next P3, next P4 and P5. So the period of time for which a process is allowed to run is called time quantum. Okay, so now we can see the example. Here the time requirement for the process execution is, for the process 1 is 15, process 2 is 10 and process 3 is 20. So now here the time quantum is allotted for each of this 5 nanoseconds. Okay, so time quantum is 5 nanoseconds. First it will start with P1. So first P1, the 5 nanoseconds P1 process will perform, and the next is P2 for the 5 nanoseconds, and next P3, next 5 nanoseconds. So here the remaining execution time for the P1 is 10. The remaining time execution is P2 for 5 and P3 it is 15. Now again the P1 start. So again you can see here the P1 start, this is 5, 10, 15. After from 15 to 20, P1 will execute. Then the next P2, because P2 the remaining execution is 5. So P2 here it will start from 20 to 25. So P2 is over now. Next P3. P3 from 25 to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 and 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 and 30 here. The next is seconds the P1, that is remaining 5 will execute here. So here the P3 has a 10 execution time is there, so it will complete this one. Okay. So what is multi-thread? Multi-thread is, what is thread? If two different processes use the same memory address, then it is called thread. Multi-thread is the ability of operating system to execute the different parts of the program called threads at the same time. Threads are lightweight process which are independent part of the process or program. So multi-threading system, more than one threads are executed parallelly on the single CPU. So this is a difference between threads versus process. Threads is a single unit of execution and its process, and it is a part of the process. Process a program in execution and contain one or more threads. Thread does not have its own data memory and keep memory. It shares the data memory and keep memory with other threads of the same process. Process its own code memory and data memory and stack memory. Thread cannot live independently, it lives within the process. The process contains at least one thread. Threads are very inexpensive to create, processes are very expensive to create, involves many OS overhead. Context switch is inexpensive and fast. Context switches are the complex and involves a lot of OS overhead, and it is comparatively slower. If a thread expires, and a stack is reclaimed by the process. By the processor, if the process dies, the resources allocated it are reclaimed by the OS, and all the associated threads of the process also dies. Thank you.